Love you. Crossing into New Jersey over the Delaware River. Pretty cool. Very lush green. I love that color. It's very humid out here as far as the weather. It's about probably low 80s. It's really not hot. Might even be just high 70s, but the humidity is very high. But I can't complain. It's not raining, and it's beautiful. A little rocky now, but again, that's what you accept on this trail. So it's raining, and as you can see, the puddles forming. We're getting very, very close to Sunfish Pond. I guess any moment now we should be there. Here's the pond. It's so cool. Yep. It's the east side of it, right there. I should say the south side, excuse me. Southeast. There's the east. Panning towards the north side. Here's the trail right here. I'm walking in basically a boulder field, and I'm mistaken. I thought I was leaving Sunfish Pond. I have not yet left it. Instead, I've been slipping and sliding along on top of these boulders along the perimeter of the pond, and I am looking forward to getting out of this particular area and up into the hills a little bit. Every foot has to be watched, step has to be watched carefully here. That's not too fun. We got a drama going on here, nature drama. Some kind of it looks like a couple of flies continue to attack and pounce on this centipede. I've been watching the centipede. It continually these two flies are attacking it. You can see they obviously are rolling it over. They sense something's wrong with this centipede. As you look over there, you can see some pretty dark clouds, and I'm guessing there's rain over on that side. Sure, it looks that way. And if you move this way, we see our first glimpse of the Delaware River. How beautiful. This is the Catfish Fire Tower. It's 60 feet high, which would be super challenging for me because of my fear of heights. Yeah, but there's no need for me to take that chance, challenge myself in that way today, because again, we're completely fogged in, as you can see, as I showed earlier. By the way, today is Monday, August 1st. Since it's a beginning of a work week, I'm expecting very few and you see very few hikers. I saw only one a few feet off. Once I got off the Camp Road Trail and started today, I saw a hiker going into the Mohican Center, and that's the only person I've seen in the first hour and 20 minutes. So it's Millbrook Road. This is like maybe a couple tenths of a mile in. I'm looking at the back here, back in the south direction. On one side is this drop off down into kind of a steep drop off. On the other side is a beaver dam, pond I should say. Beaver pond. Here's an unfortunate pipe that goes through it, but it's a nice scene, I think. Found this really cool spider web. Hope you can see. I'll just walk you up a few steps, get a different view for the pond. Just a very short 3/10 of a mile above the pond, the beaver pond. We're looking out at, I believe it's called Wallkill Valley and the Pocono Plateau. That's what the guidebook said. Here's a closer look perhaps. Wallkill Valley, Pocono Plateau. What I really love is what's in the forefront right here, the foreground. These wildflowers. I love the yellows and the purples, I guess they are. I love these flowers. You can see I'm walking right under a power line. I'm going to turn this way. And here's the power line going back in the other direction. And here's the trail. Just finished getting some water from a stream, a natural stream flowing down towards Fairview Lake. Took me about 20 minutes. And now about 7 miles to go. It's about 3 o'clock. So it's a little bit of a time crunch. I want to get set up before it's dark. And we continue on the trail. Well, you can probably hear the rain, so I have my rain gear on, my pack cover, steady rain, several miles to go. I'm okay right now because there's no thunder or anything like that. And we'll just make do and try, just adjust to the situation. It's unfortunate that there's no sun out today at all, because there's some beautiful, as you can see, the green is lush, beautiful, and the sun would have highlighted that further, but hopefully you can still see that. Well, we're looking west, and I'm looking at the Wallkill Valley and the Pocono Plateau in Pennsylvania. We saw this same combination of the valley and the plateau earlier when I was filming the wildflowers above the beaver pond, and similar look with the clouds. But I think this is particularly beautiful. This is the payoff, I guess, for the very difficult day of hiking. It's very quiet up here. Just showing more of the clouds. I'll Try to keep this steady. Brink Road Shelter. Brink Road Shelter. It's brand new. I don't know, I think it's maybe this year or something. It says here, caution, bear activity at Brink Shelter. Area has been frequented by bears. Follow all bear guidelines. I am I believe the only person here. Just double checking. Walking up here a second. This is where people put down their, too dark to see, but this is where people put down their pads, sleeping pads. My intention is to set my tent up. I'm not sure where. And I am definitely nervous about the bear note, just like I was yesterday. And I have to be able to get more than 2 hours sleep, and I can't let that tension affect me. That's my challenge tonight. However I manage it. And here's the bear vault, bear box. Some seriously wild mushrooms, looks like. And see if you can see. Oh, there it is. You can see it moving. There's that orange. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find out what it is, but like kind of a lizard-like thing. And I've seen a bunch of them already the last couple days. And this is the beginning of territory I've never walked on. That I was going from Brink Road Shelter, and my goal is High Point. Let's see if I can do it. It's about 19 and a half miles, something like that. Well, I walked maybe a mile and a half, 2 miles perhaps, from the Brink Shelter, and I reached an overlook. I love that. This is maybe my favorite type of thing. This type of overlook, the rolling hills and the clouds. I love the clouds, all kinds of variety. Even this kind of dark and menacing type of thing. Beautiful body of water. I'm not sure what that is I'm looking at. I'll have to look it up later. Moving closer to what's called Culver's Gap, Route 206. Well, just entering Stokes State Forest after eating at a place called Gyp's Tavern, a really perfect stopping point, just 1/10 or 2/10 of a mile to the left after you come down the trail onto Route 206. Didn't realize how famished I was. I had a personal pie, big personal pie, and some fries, and still hungry. And interesting, the owner was a hunting buddy of Babe Ruth's, of all people. So there's photographs of the original owner and Babe Ruth, out there hunting. So a really cool place, perfect stopping point as I now proceed as close as I can get, if not to High Point. Culver's Fire Tower. About 2 miles from Route 206. And here I come upon a nice scene. Nice overlook. Bring it in closer. We're looking at the Wallkill Valley, New Jersey. Pasture land, farmland, whatever. Quite lovely. I'm about 6 miles from High Point Shelter if I go there. It's about 5:45 in the evening, so a lot of it depends on my pace. It's getting dark in a matter of minutes, and there's my first glimpse of High Point. I don't know whether I'm going to have a chance to go up there tonight or not. We'll see. On that High Point, no one is here, just me. The sun is setting, basically set. I'm looking at New Jersey here. I was hoping desperately to catch the sun, which I haven't really had a chance to enjoy for the entire trip, 3 days, and maybe you can see in the distance there's the sunset, but I didn't really catch its rays. There's the Delaware out in the distance. Let me get closer in. So you can see some of the water there. Back to the sun setting. Here's the High Point Monument plaque. So it's an absolutely grueling day. I don't really have time to even enjoy it up here. But I was insistent on at least physically getting here before I went down to my tent site. Saturday, August 6th. It is, well, I had to take 3 days off of the trail when I got to High Point. I got to High Point on Tuesday, very late. It was dark, and I could not find a shelter on this trail that I'm on right now. Appalachian Trail, just moving north from High Point. Could not find a shelter sign. Had to race back up this very rocky area in darkness and get rescued essentially by a police, as you know, drive to a local motel because I couldn't even get access to an operator. And somehow I got access to, at some point I got access after many tries to a police or sheriff, whatever the official designation is. So essentially I had to be rescued from this trail, which left me feeling, and then to add insult to great injury, I literally felt injured physically. I had worked so hard to get here, walked well over 20 miles, very rocky. The last 5 miles of which I basically was jogging as much as I could. And then having to go in the darkness here and then having to go back up, it really did a number on my calves. I literally couldn't walk for several days. And so I've waited, and I took off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday back home to find out when and whether I would heal up. Also had two bad blisters but everything seems perfectly fine now. So it's basically 3.5 days or 4 days since I was taken off of the high point. And I'm also seeing sun. I never really saw sun the first 3 days of my trip, from July 1st to August 2nd. Now I'm seeing sun, so it's lifted my spirits. My body is in good working order, and I am just grateful to have this chance to continue. My goal here is to, and I've learned some lessons about hubris on the trail. Not to wait till the last, not to leave no margin of error in terms of shelter, not to force myself into a frenetic hiking pace only to potentially injure myself with a pulled muscle or whatever, or even worse if I had turned an ankle, which easily could have happened at any point. I've learned that I can go at a good pace, but at a really safety is paramount. And that's a major, huge lesson that I think I needed to really ponder for several days before I allowed myself back on this trail. So with that all in mind, my goal today is to go approximately 14.5 trail miles, something I definitely doable without any risk of pulling muscles or anything. And time-wise, it's about 12:15. I started a few minutes ago. I'm just down from the monument. So time-wise, I am somewhat pushing it. But if I go at a steady 2 mile plus an hour clip, I will get there with at least a small margin to work with. Not as much as I'd like, but I was sort of at the mercy of what time I got here by the taxi getting me here. So here I am. It's beautiful. The sun makes all the difference, and I'll get back to you later. Looking at what I'm pretty certain is a praying mantis. It was making quite a loud sound, and it crawled underneath this log right here. I just pulled the log out just an inch or so, just so we can see it. And here it is, moving just a tad. Yep. Praying mantis. Beautiful green. Beautiful creature, huh? Well, there's a farm. It's a couple 100 feet off the trail. Some nice wild weeds, purplish color. And here's the trail. This is Unionville, New York, and there's a place called Horler's, which I didn't go to, I didn't need to, but it has right up there Horler's store for resupply. I just ate just further up the road, just a very short distance, ate at a great pizza place, and now I'm returning back to the trail. I'm going to go back to the trail just in about 3/10 of a mile. This road here is 284, the main road. I guess you can call it pasture land, grassland, and in the distance the sort of the hill line, if you will. That's the trail right there that I just came from, and I'm going to move you to where I am going. Here's the trail where I'm going. And the view. a little small bridge here on Oil City Road, looking at the Wallkill River, and this is part of a national wildlife refuge. I'm going to keep a sign here, National Wildlife Refuge, Wallkill River, and I'm about to enter into a section of that for the next 2 miles, a mile and a half. The beginning of the what's called the Liberty Loop Trail, which is just simply a trail, as you can see in a minute right here. Just a walking path, part of the Appalachian Trail that encircles the perimeter of this Wallkill River Wildlife Refuge. And the mountains in the background. Just turned off the Liberty Trail Loop on the Wallkill River Wildlife Refuge, and we're now on this short plank road, path I should say, in the swampy area, to show you both sides. And this will cross the street very shortly, and also pass a very nice farmhouse. My first bear, about 100, 200 feet off the trail. And once it got a whiff of me, it scurried away. It seemed to glance at me a little bit out of curiosity once it had scurried away for a bit, and then it left. I don't feel at all nervous about that. This is the very beginning of a boardwalk. You can see here, just right off of County Road 517 in Sussex County. And this is about a mile long, I believe, boardwalk, built especially to go over what's called the Pochuck Swamp. Previous to this boardwalk, which was built, I think, within the last 10 or 15 years, previous to this being built, the trail had to go all the way around, do a whole big circuit around the borders of this swamp area, which took a lot longer. And this boardwalk here takes you right into the heart of this gorgeous swamp, Pochuck Swamp. Hopefully you can see this. This is some kind of a turtle colony. There's just several dozen easily. There's a whole bunch that seem to be sunbathing over here. Hopefully you can see that. Very cool. Just to give you a perspective. Now, one more time back. This is the Pochuck suspension bridge over Pochuck Creek down below. This is also obviously a huge project. Field here. I've seen cattle graze here before. Don't see any at the moment. And obviously on this boardwalk, I'm literally a few minutes away from Route 94, which is a big accomplishment, I think. It's about 60 miles. I think it's actually might be 62 miles of trail miles from the Delaware Water Gap. This is one of my favorite scenic areas. Pulled in closer. Well, yesterday I made a very smart, difficult decision. To stop hiking when I got to Route 94. My original plan was to go an additional 14 miles to Greenwood Lake, crossing into New York State. I realized, first of all, my blisters were bothering me again. And second of all, I was trying to stay true to my newfound respect for the trail, for not cutting it close, for what I'm capable of and what I'm not capable of. And so I'm very glad that I got a motel room on 94. Though it wasn't ideal, you would prefer to stay on the trail. It was also part of my initial itinerary to go to this particular motel when I started the trip. So I enjoyed that, somewhat, pretty rested. Right now I'm hiking up a trail for a mile. It'll take me to, it's going up way on the mountain. It'll take me to possibly my favorite lookout in New Jersey on this trail, which is called Pinwheel Vista. When I get there, I'll definitely show some stuff. As planned, it's about 9 a.m., so it took me about 45 minutes to get up this very steep path. I think it's by far the steepest path I have taken and will take in all of New Jersey in terms of a sustained path. This is my favorite vista, and the reason is, well, it's not quite as grand as, say, being on High Point or one or two of the other vistas we may have seen. It is magnificent in the breadth of territory that mountains and the rolling hills that one sees, the farmlands. It covers everything in a very vivid way, and there's an intimacy to it. You can see the farm down there. I'm going to zero in. You can see the roads, cars. You can see the path, which you may not be able to see here. The path that the Appalachian Trail takes through the farmland into the forest. I can see, although you probably cannot, in the middle of the range currently at the top, I can see High Point Monument, which is roughly 20 plus trail miles away. It's just a beautiful, beautiful setting. It's called Pinwheel Vista. It's named after a local trail maintainer, and it says here that the views offer, you can see the Shawangunks and Catskills to the north, and Vernon Valley, Pochuck Mountain, and the Kittatinny Range to the west and south. So north is this way, and west and south over here. This is my favorite spot. Just a moment of what it's like here in the forest, the way beyond, I guess it's called State Forest, or way beyond the park. All wooded up, both sides of the trail. Actually a very nice day for hiking. Seems like relatively low humidity. Temperature, I would guess in the 70s. Rising, I'm sure, but very nice at the moment. Around 9:30, quarter to 10. Just enjoying the scene here. Nice little rivulet of water coming off this pond just outside of the headquarters, way on to State Park. And that's where you can go to, there's a bathroom, water, faucet, and it's a common stopping point for all the through hikers. And I talked to several of them there. Young, in this case, 3 young people, early 20s, I'm guessing, and they're all waxing poetic about the joys of the through hike. So that was nice. About to cross Warwick Turnpike, which will be the official border and end of Wawayanda State Park. Greenwood Lake. I came off a very grueling stretch of ridge walking up and down these very large boulders, requiring a lot of careful maneuvering, and I seem to be finally back in the forest, relieved to be so. And very shortly I'm hoping to find what's called something like the Blue Vista Trail or something like that, that will take me off of the Appalachian Trail and down into Greenwood Lake. I'm going to pick up where I accidentally left off with the phone. The idea of enjoying oneself, something that I've always had great difficulty doing, comes from the process and how one approaches it. I've also learned that fears can be confronted. Fears can be confronted in a way that they don't disappear, that they may remain with you. And you may need to be there for some particular reason of psychology or whatever, but they do not have to be allowed to disable you, to cripple you, to stop you from experiencing things one wants to experience. I've confronted my fears of the outdoors, of loneliness, of bears, limits, physical challenges of distance, walking great distances, of being able to have the competency to take care of myself adequately with food, clothing, shelter needs. And I have done so in a way that gives me a great deal of confidence that I'm now capable of doing so in the future. And that can't be taken away from me. I may very well experience these same fears again. Perhaps each and every time I go in the woods. Or I may experience those fears or different types of fears in other walks of my life. But my challenge will always be to confront them with a process that overcomes the disabling aspects of fear. These are some great lessons, I think. I've reached the 14 miles to get to this spot right here, which is the Village Vista Trail, which will finally bring me down to Greenwood Lake. I am completely exhausted. I'm just simply spent on every level, and I have to be great. Say goodbye to the trail. Goodbye, Appalachian Trail. Thank you for everything. And now it's time for me to get some rest. See you another time.